Hello everybody and welcome to the lecture on steps in the unification algorithm. A lecture in the course of Introduction to Artificial Intelligence for Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering students of the 8th semester. In the last video lecture, we tried to understand the structure of the unification algorithm. In today's lecture, we will try to state the parts of procedure of the unification algorithm. So, in the last video lecture, we learned that the unification algorithm will unify the predicate symbols and the number of arguments as steps in the algorithm. But to unify the argument pairs, it will use recursion. Let us now write the code for this. The algorithm must fail when there is a mismatch in the entities that are passed to it. If there is a mismatch in the predicate symbol, there is no point going ahead in comparing the number of arguments and checking the argument pairs. If the predicate symbols match but the number of arguments doesn't match, then there is no point going ahead with the comparison of argument pairs. If the predicate symbols and the number of arguments match, then we can compare the argument pairs. So from this, we have roughly figured out the order of basic steps. If the initial predicate symbols in L1 and L2 are not identical, then return fail. If they are identical, then the next step. If L1 and L2 have a different number of arguments, then return fail. If they have the same number of arguments, then we go to the third step. Now the third step would be to compare the argument pairs. Obviously, this is going to be a couple of lines of code. Why? Because there are going to be possibly more than one argument pairs for the predicates that are being compared. Each argument pair needs to be compared and substitution needs to be performed for each pair if necessary. This has to be done to each argument pair. That means we will have to use a for loop for as many argument pairs that there are. And at the end of the loop, possibly the list of substitutions should be ready. These lines of code need to build the list of substitutions. So what should this list look like? It should be in the function composition form. Rightmost bracket the first substitution, next left bracket the next substitution, and so on. We have discussed this. The lines of code is supposed to return a list. That means it first has to be initialized to an empty list. Therefore, before we begin with the for loop, we add the third line of initialization of an empty list. So set subst to nil. Subst is the list which is going to get built and finally going to be returned. The for loop will run with the counter variable having an initial value and a final value. What is the counter variable counting? Correct, the number of arguments, because we have to repeat this procedure for the number of argument pairs that we have. Since we have already made sure that the number of arguments is the same for both literals L1 as well as L2 in step 2, the counter may run on either the number of arguments in L1 or L2. Let us consider that it runs on the past literal L1. So now we add the header of the for loop as the next line of code. For I initialized to 1 to the number of arguments in L1. Okay. Now we need to write the actual procedure of comparison of individual argument pair. Let us first develop the steps separately and then add these steps to the algorithm. So what all are the possibilities that we may have with each pair? Firstly, the two can be already the same. Then there should be no substitution necessary. If they are not identical, then substitution may be necessary depending on what the arguments are. Are these both variables? Is one a variable and one a constant? Which one is the variable and which one is the constant? Because depending on that, the substitution needs to be made. Are both constants? If these are non-identical constants, neither a substitution is possible nor does the argument pair match. So assume that the two arguments that are being compared are L1 and L2. I can use L1 and L2, right? So now let the substitution for each argument pair, not the final substitution list. So let the substitution for each argument pair be stored in a list S. If L1 and L2 are identical, then the substitution list S is going to be empty or nil. If L1 is a variable, then irrespective of whether L2 is a variable or a constant, we make the substitution L2 for L1. So now S contains L2 for L1. If L1 is not a variable, it means that it is a constant. So then we need to go to the next step and check if L2 is a variable. If L2 is a variable, then the substitution has to be L1 for L2, because L1 now has to be a constant. If so, S will contain L1 for L2. If L2 is also not a variable, it means that both the arguments are constants. Also, since the two arguments have gone through the first step, both are not identical, and non-identical constants cannot be unified using substitution. Therefore, in this case, the unification fails. The algorithm fails. Else, the substitution list S contains a single value fail. Also, if this algorithm pair has failed, there is no point in comparing any further arguments, even if the predicate has them and they may be identical. Now let us understand the code for assessing the substitution list contents. After the comparison of the argument pair, we know that if everything goes fine, the list must have substitutions made. But what are the exceptions? The list can either be empty because no substitutions were necessary. That means argument pair matched, and the for loop can move to the next argument pair. Or the list can contain a value fail because the arguments were unequal constants. That means we can then have the following lines of code. If the list contains the value fail, then the algorithm should return fail and come out of the for loop and the algorithm. If the list is not nil, that means the substitutions were made, then we need to do two things. We have to first make sure that this substitution is applied to all the remainder argument pairs. Why? For consistency. Once this is done, we need to append it to the left of the string that is getting built for all the arguments, one pair at a time, SUBST, one loop at a time. Why? Because the output has to be in function composition notation. That's why to the left of the string. Apply the substitution S to the remaining arguments in L1 and L2. Then SUBST becomes equal to append into bracket S on the left, comma SUBST on the right. So the latest substitution comes on the left. Notice that we are appending SUBST to S, which means that the latest substitution will come on the left hand side as required by function composition notation. This list now becomes the new SUBST. Now this will continue till all the argument pairs are unified and the complete SUBST list is built. This then needs to be returned using the statement return SUBST. I hope that the basic algorithm is clear to everyone. So in this video, we built our understanding of the bits and pieces of the algorithm. Let us put together complete algorithm together in the next video. I hope you have understood now the individual steps of the unification algorithm. Please contact me in case you have any difficulties. Thank you.